Welcome back, folks, for a new episode of Leaked. And today we'll cover the T-44-100 again. So this is going to be a special Redux episode because I already covered this vehicle since October of last year, but it has been changed. The stats have been updated and it's no longer a special deal promotional offer from a Russian internet service company. So originally you can only get this vehicle from buying the service of the RUISP, and after you buy the service you get this tank in your garage. But if you cancel their service, they take away this tank. So it's like some sort of special rental rather than actually owning the tank. So that's not fun. But it has been offered as a marathon based reward on the Asian servers for the month of July, and the EU server will get it for the month of September. So it's very likely that the North American servers will get it as well. Otherwise, I'll be very triggered. But what can I do? So let's take a refresher about this tank, and I'll talk about the marathon as well as the tips and tricks for the marathon. So what is a T-44-100? Well, it's basically a T-44 mounting a 100mm gun. So the T-44 in the game is not historically correct because the original T-44s has 85mm, so it has a smaller gun, and that was pretty much it. So they updated the T-44 with the 85mm, with 100mm, and 122. So initially there were two versions of the T-44 with the 85 and 122, as you can see right here with the increased driver hatch thing. But they did not like the 122 because it was cramped, the shell was big for the small turret, and the tank was ineffective against Panther tanks. So they chose the 85mm. They updated the hull, so removed the boxiness of the driver hatch, so increased the sloping, and that's the actual production model of the original T-44s. Later they tested bigger guns, so reworked the hull, reworked the internal compartments, increased the hull armor on the third generation, so thickened the hull to 90mm and reworked with new engines. On the B version, they had a 100mm cannon with side skirts, and this is basically this vehicle. So yeah, it's this tank with side skirts, 100mm LB1, and later versions were modified with even thicker armor and hull adjustments, and that became the T-54 prototype, model 1945. So we have that in the game. We also have the T-44-122 and the T-44-85, but these premium tanks are not available to the commoners, so to the public. But you can play with the models in Tech Inspector, right? Yeah. So that's the T-44 progress. But we're getting this vehicle now as the normal marathon-based reward. So rather than buying the service of some Russian ISP, which is very good. So here is the HD render of this vehicle with the LB1 100mm, the Dushka. Surprisingly, there's no logs on this tank. It's a Russian tank. There's no logs. You don't see it. I don't see it. Not here on the back, so blasphemy. But here is the collision model of this tank. So upper plate is 90mm at about 40 degrees, so about 140mm effective. The turret is pretty bouncy at the front, so it's sloped 100mm with various sloping. So at the cheeks it's 125, but a little bit to the sides, auto bounce. So it's rounded like the IS-6, so it could bounce a few shots. But the hull is like the T-44. You also have side skirts on the sides to increase the sloping, so side scraping is not a bad idea. And the side armor is 75mm, so not that bad. It's a little bit better than the Carnarvon or the Centurions, obviously. So in general, it's like the T-44. Armor is decent for medium tank, and it does have side skirts against shape charges or anti-material rifle, but there's no anti-material rifle in the game, so that's superfluous. But it's not a bad tank. The commander hatch is small, so small target. It's 90mm rounded, and it's in general all-rounded tank, so it's not that bad. The mantlet might be a little bit weak because it's only 120mm flat with no armor underneath, so it could get penetrated. Yeah, but it's alright. It's like the T-44. It's fine. So here are the main stats. Now, as you can see, some stats have been buffed, so I'll go over them, but it's a tier 8 premium Russian medium tank, crew of 4 with commander, gunner, driver, and loader. So 4-man crew. It's not credit, it's gold cost. My bad, but yeah, it's a lot of gold. 12,500 gold. So ignore the credit, I mistype. Typo has 1,350 hit points, which is slightly below average. Yeah, it's about 100 less. No, 50 less. So it's not that bad. Engine power is 520, so Russian standard. Weighs about 33.5 tons. So the horsepower per ton ratio is 15.52, which is average for a medium tank of tier 8. Top speed is 52 kilometers per hour, above average by a little bit. Reverse is 20. Hull traverse is buffed from 50.1 degrees per second to 51 degrees per second. Turret traverse is buffed from 44 degrees per second to 50.1 degrees per second. Now, terrain resistance is one of the major buffs to this vehicle. So as you can see, now it's 0.479 for hard, 0.575 for medium, and 1.438 for soft. Originally, it was slightly below average, but now it's way above average. This is close to the FE4202, but this vehicle is a lot faster in a straight line with better horsepower per ton ratio. So yeah, it's a lot better than the FE4202, even though it has less penetration. Whatever. View range is 380 meters, so slightly below average by 5 meters. Radio range is standard, above 700. Hull armor is 90 at the front, 75 at the sides, 45 at the rear. Turret armor is 120 at the front, 100 at the sides, and 100 at the rear. The gun is the 100mm LB1 with 56 rounds, so very good. AP, APCR, high explosive, and penetration is slightly below average, but it is buffed since all tier 8 mediums are buffed with 9.15 or 9.14, so penetration was buffed. APCR shell is below average, but it's alright. And high explosive is high explosive. Rate of fire is 7.725 rounds per minute, so yeah. But DPM is above average, 1931, so that's alright. You can fit a gun rammer and vents that will increase it to 2,200. So if you have brothers in arm, that's 2,300 or so. So that's not bad. Reloads every 7.767 seconds. Accuracy is pretty good for a Russian gun, 0.336. Aim time is 2.11 seconds. Gun depression of 7 degrees with elevation of 23 degrees. So the main buff, the main changes is the terrain resistance. This is the biggest change. Other changes are small, negligible, but that's one of the biggest change to the mobility of this tank. That's dramatically big. So here are the final thoughts and opinions. Well, it's leaked last year around August of 2015, so this is a Redux leak episode, so it doesn't really count as a leak episode. Originally a special promotional vehicle for buying the internet service provider's service on the RU server, but marathon missions are available on the EU server starting in 2 days from now or 3 days from now. Asian servers already had it, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully North American servers will get it. So strength is the buff terrain resistance to one of the best decent gun handling with penetration buff to all tier 8 mediums. So pretty good gun and better mobility now. So mediocre horsepower per ton ratio, that's a trait of Russian medium tanks. So that's a characteristic weakness of Russian mediums, but they do have way better terrain resistance to counterbalance this mobility. So penetration and alpha is low, but it's a trait of tier 8 mediums, so it's on average. But it has a lot more ammo than the T-54 prototype. So 22 more rounds than the T-54 prototype. That's dramatic. That's huge. So 56 from 34. That's almost 50%. Almost. That's like what? 40%? My math sucks, but that's huge. All right. So a better T-54 prototype in almost all categories other than armor. So other than 120mm frontal plate, it has better view range, better health, better mobility, better accuracy, better aim time, better DPM slightly too, and penetration is the same. Better dispersion as well, checked. So, wow, is the 120mm of frontal plate armor really that worth it? I don't know, but it's not as good as the FE-4202P's terrain resistance. It's close to that, but yeah, that's one of the best terrain resistance in the game. So imagine getting that terrain resistance with better top speed, because it's 52 kilometers per hour top speed, whereas the FE-4202 has only 35. Ew. So yeah, stat for stat, it's basically a T-44 that trades 22.5% horsepower per ton ratio for 50 more health, minus 0.1 seconds to the aim time, 7 degrees of hull traverse buff, 1 more kilometers per hour top speed, and 80.2% with 83.5% and 26.7% to better terrain resistance. Holy crap, that's a lot better, right? And slightly better camouflage rating as well. So that's a lot. So is it worth it? Basically a premium T-44 with side skirts. It's not as fast to rev up, but it's better at driving through swamps and crappy terrain. So it's pretty balanced, right? It's a premium tank though, so you get more credits and crew XP. Yeah, that's not fair. So no drawbacks of a premium tank comparable to normal tanks of tier 8. Normal medium tanks of tier 8. Also, no lack of ammo ridiculousness of the T-54 prototype. Only 34 rounds of 100mm. It's almost like the IS-6 with only like 28 rounds of, or 30 rounds of the 122 D25T. Ugh, I need more shells. So a lot better, and definitely worth the marathon grind. So the grind is tough, but the vehicle is worth it. So should you grind for it? I think you should. So here is the marathon analysis. So the main objective is get 8 tokens from 8 nations, and you get the T-44-100. Now each token is basically costing you 150,000 damage from playing the different nations vehicle and getting 150 enemy kills with it. So it's a little bit tougher than previous WZ-111's marathon, and that's because the introduction of the Czechoslovakians. So originally for the WZ-111, there were only 7 nations. So you had to grind 7 times 150,000 damage with 150 kills for each nation. Now it's 1 more nation, so 1 more stack of 150,000 damage and 150 vehicles. So yeah, it's tougher now. And the time limit is the same, so about a month. But taking a closer look on the EU server and the Asian server, Asian servers kind of get shafted because they had less time with additional requirements of tier 5 plus, whereas on the EU server it's only tier 4 plus. So sorry Asian servers, I guess bias, super biased. So the total of 1.2 million damage dealt, so that's about 40,000 per day given 30 days, and destroy 1,200 vehicles, so about 40 vehicles per day given 30 days. So high tiers is better for farming the damage, Whereas low tiers is better for getting the kills. Since low tiers have low health, you can punch out more health and get more kills that way. So, logic. And damage and kills is the basic orientation of the marathon. So you want to play vehicles with a lot of damage. Tank destroyers, obviously, and getting kills. So set goals and try to accomplish them because it's harder this time around. It's, one nation harder, one more stack of the damages. And for a premium tier 8 medium tank, not for a premium tier 8 heavy. So it might not have the same credit capabilities, credit making and crew XP making capabilities as something like an IS-6 or T-34 or VIII. So keep that in mind. But here is the comparison to the previous marathons. So as you can see with the winter/spring of this year, we had the FE4202P. So it's very simple. If you already had the Action X Centurion, just play 10 rounds of it with 750 XP, the best, and get 450,000 damage with tier 8 through 10. So do this for 10 days, and you get 1 medium caliber rammer, 1 enhanced gunlaying drive, and the tank. But especially for North American servers, because we're special, if you already own the tank, if you already own the Action X Centurion or the old FE4202, not the P, FE4202, you will get the Action X Centurion, but you can also do the marathon and get the 8,000 gold extra. So North America is special. As for the VIII, it happened about a year and a half ago, so a year and 8 months ago. So tier 6 plus 7 nations, 150,000 damage each, and destroy 150 vehicles with each nation. Reward of 2 premium days with each nation. So that's a big difference with the current reward, which is 3 personal reserves of 50% XP, 200% free XP, and 200% crew XP for 1 hour. That's stupid. That's stupid compared to 2 days of premium time. Yeah, that's way stupid. So, yeah, the rewards are not that great, and it's a little bit more difficult. Compared to the VIII, God, this mission is a lot harder. And it's a little bit more harder than the T-34s and the IS-6 marathon missions. So here you can see it was only 700,000 XP each nation, or for the both marathons. But you also got premium days, a lot of premium days to help you with the XP. And you got a lot more garage slots with the T-34's mission. I remember, there were like 6 garage slots. That was crazy. So, this mission is the hardest. And you have to play tank destroyers because a lot of damage, or vehicles that you're very good with to get a lot of kills or a lot of damage, and both, obviously. So, this mission. I mean, it's for a T-44-100, which is pretty good, so work your ass off. But it's not happening in the middle of summer where a lot of people have time, right? It happens when school starts, or it happens when, like, the middle of the job season with a lot of people going back to work. So, nice timing, guys. Nice timing. But good hunting, folks. So, wish you guys all the best luck. So, may the fortune be with you. But I swear, if this doesn't come to North American servers, if we do not get the marathon for the T-44-100, I'll be very triggered. I'll be very mad, to say the least. But oh well. At least I don't have to buy a service from some sort of Russian internet service company, so that's a plus. But there you go, folks. The refresher on the T-44-100. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.